He said probably longer. Yesterday, Brazil came out and said he won't be part of their squad for the qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers. So that's sort of 2 weeks. I mean, how long can Liverpool cope without him? I suppose it depends on what the youngsters are like.
Well, and it's an issue for them, because had he been fit, he's a leader as well back there. I mean, Joe Gomez is a good player, but I think he needs a strong character next to him, because he still needs leading. Matip has been injured, so his fitness is at doubt. Now you're talking about another youngster coming in, with a youngster Joe Gomez, although he's experienced beside him. Now, if I'm the opponents, that's where I'm aiming, and I'm just going to be direct, and I'm going to put them under pressure. So he needs now to bring in someone, a marquee centre-half, I think he does.
You think he'll spend in January?
Got to, because you don't know when or what Van Dijk's going to be like. And if you want to maintain your level at the top, then you know your defence has to be strong. And if you look at Liverpool this season, they have conceded more goals at home this season than they did I think a couple of years ago, when they only conceded about 7 or 8. That tells you they're leaking goals at the moment. They're leaking goals.
2 centre-halves have been linked, haven't they? I saw Ozan Kabak of Schalke. I know a fair bit about him. He's currently, though, banned for a really nasty spitting incident, and I wonder whether that might put someone like Jurgen Klopp off. But also Dio Upamecano, who's played at RB Leipzig, but my word, he came to the Northwest the other night, didn't he? And he didn't exactly do himself any favours against Man United.
No, he didn't, but I'm not so sure they'll be worried about that, because you see, they'll have been watching him for a period of time. And one game doesn't make you a poor player, to be truthful. They'll have watched him, and what they'll watch now, they'll watch the next game to see how he bounces back, because that's the most important thing, the character of the player when he knows he hasn't played well. So no, they'll take their time.
You've got to say that Jurgen Klopp's recruitment has been, I genuinely can't think of a player that you would say has been a failure since he arrived at Liverpool that he signed, off the top of my head. Can you?
No, I mean, if you look at someone like Shaqiri, you know, he's a good player, and he's always brilliant when he comes in.
Yeah.
He just doesn't play enough now. He's been phased out of it. But no, I mean, I think recruitment is hugely important when you're at the top level, because you want to be able to bring players in who fit into the way you play, but also their mentality fits into the mentality that you're creating with the group.
Well, we briefly mentioned Man United there. I thought this was a fascinating quote that came out from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 100th game for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge of Man United against Arsenal on Sunday. Just have a listen to this, Paul, and tell me whether you think this is him saying actually he's happy with his squad and he thinks that he can win trophies this year.
At the moment, we are looking like a Man United squad. Because I've got opportunities, I've got competition for places, and any successful team in the modern era of football have had that option to rest players, to rotate, and that's probably the only way you can last in this the most intense league in the world for me, and also with Champions League involved. So. And you want to go for the trophies, I think so.
What do you reckon? Are they good enough to be going for the trophies? They just got beat 6-1 at home by Spurs.
No, I mean, sometimes people say things and managers say things for different reasons. Maybe he's doing it to give his players confidence, but this Manchester United team looks inconsistent to me. I don't think he knows his best side. I think at the back they've got problems centrally. I don't think they've got enough pace. They don't know how to fit Van der Beek into the side, who is a very good player. They've got Pogba and Fernandes, and what he's found is they can't all play together, so he's got an issue there. Up front, Rashford's brilliant, Martial's brilliant, but inconsistent. So no, I don't think that you're looking at them challenging for the Premier League. I don't think they've got enough to do that.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you, I've got to say. Look, that's all still to come this weekend. You won't want to miss Man United, Arsenal. Joe Shannon, the brilliant Joe Shannon, and Paul Parker will be bringing you that one 4:15 on Sunday. But we are looking at Wolves against Crystal Palace, and we've got two very differing characters in charge. We'll hear from Roy Hodgson very shortly. First, though, the Wolves boss, Nuno Espirito Santo.
We had a good week, and the approach is always on searching the improvement that we still have, and we must in the moment of the season that we still have to improve a lot of things in our game, And this is what we have been working hard on it. And the approach exactly the same. Trying to pass as much details as we can of Crystal Palace, because it's going to be a very tough game. Very good team.
Their start of the season has been very good too. They're a well-oiled unit. They know exactly what they're doing. The way the team plays and is set up to play suits the players they have at their disposal, and we're expecting another very, very tough game, as it always is when you play them, be it at home or away. So it's nice to be going there with 10 points in the bag and with a little bit of confidence, but we're fully aware that their confidence is also high and they've got the same number of points as us. So let's hope that we can produce the football necessary to get a result tomorrow night.
The game has changed by himself. We see a lot of mistakes made by players all over the world. You can see, and I attribute that to the sense of urgency that the atmosphere is, and the sense of responsibility at the same time. Something that we cannot overcome. We can speak louder, we can shout, but the real pressure, I think, is not there.
Playing football behind closed doors seems to me to hold no advantages whatsoever, other than the very important one, which has been discussed many times. It is enabling us to keep the Premier League and football alive in the country. So that's very, very important. But when it comes to a debate, is it better with or without fans? For me, there should be no debate. There is nothing to debate on the subject.
A loss of pressure for the players, Paul, without fans, said Nuno Espirito Santo, and he said they need that pressure to return. I just wonder whether it's just a different sort of pressure rather than a loss. Where do you look at this view?
Well, the thing about the fans is sometimes they will remind the players. And some players respond well to it. Some players, it makes the shirt heavy. So for some players at the moment, they'll love playing without fans because they struggle.
Nobody's admitted it.
No, but we all know that. There's some players who will struggle with the fans there because the actual intensity of it is too much for them. There are some players on the flip side who thrive from the response of the crowd. So for me, having been to games as we are tonight, there's a flatness about them without the fans. The fans are hugely important, and you know the ebb and flow of the game is what the fans give you sometimes.
It's an interesting point, that, isn't it? What you say about some will sort of thrive under it and enjoy it. I wonder whether that makes recruitment, we were talking about it with Klopp there, at this moment in time quite difficult, because you're going to see players for, let's be honest, it's a reasonable amount of time, probably enough time that under normal circumstances you'd say that we feel sufficiently scouted of a player.
Yeah.
And then you sign them, say, in January or whatever, and then the fans come back in February or March, just, off the top of my head, just hypothetically, and suddenly they can't do it. So how do you think people are sort of working against that when they're scouting players right now?
Well, the thing about it is, the players you're scouting now, you'd have known for years. There is not a player out there that any club doesn't know about. They know about them all. Trust me, they know about them all. They've got scouts. Every club's got scouts all over the place. So you will know the character of those players. They'll have dossiers, as thick as you could think, knowing everything about the players. So that won't be an issue. That won't be an issue at all.
Quite convinced. Okay, well, look, when we look at this game and say, it's won or it's lost, there's a couple of youngsters down towards the left side of Wolves' defence, with Rayan Aït-Nouri making his debut and Max Kilman still in the infancy of his career. Is that somewhere that Palace will look to attack? Because they've got quite the opposite down there, right, with Klein, Townsend and Zaha to an extent. Yeah,
they will. I mean, again, everyone does their homework. Everyone knows how Wolves play. It's very, very machine-like, the way they play. Very predictable, but a good way for the personnel they've got. And they defend well. The weakness, they'll look at that, because someone's making their debut, they'll put him under pressure. That's what they'll have to do, because everywhere else on that pitch for Wolves is strength and experience and quality. Palace, well, Riederwald and Milivojevic in the middle, they're not really attack minded. They'll sit in there and hope Schlupp and Townsend can really create for Zaha, Batshuayi, with Van Arno and Klein sort of support him.
And, well, people used to say that Thierry Henry was predictable. It's stopping him, isn't it? So Wolves' predictable style may not necessarily be too much of an issue for them. Crystal Palace have to find a way to stop it. You'll find out if they do very shortly here on Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome along to TalkSport's coverage of Wolves against Crystal Palace from Molineux. I'm your host, Toby Gillis. Alongside me, the former Palace winger, Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. A clash of styles. A clash that could see one of these two teams, albeit with a miracle, I've already said it, go top of the Premier League. Don't knock it. I'm trying here. One change each from their last matches between Wolves and for Wolves and Crystal Palace today. Wolves drew with Newcastle. Roman Saiss drops out. He was playing in the unfamiliar position on the left-hand side of midfield. Ryan Aït-Nouri will come in his place. For Palace, one change from the win against Fulham. Tarek Mitchell drops out. He's got a knock and is out entirely. Patrick Van Arnholt comes in. Now we are approaching Remembrance Sunday as well here in the UK, so we will be getting a moment's silence of reflection as these two sets of players line up ahead of this game, and also to remember Nobby Stiles, the England World Cup winner who died earlier today at the age of 78 after a long illness with his family around him, after which I will bring you the full starting lineups of these two sides.
For the last post and a period of silent reflection.
We shall remember them as the players move away to prepare for this game between Wolves and Crystal Palace. The two captains first, though, Conor Coady and Luka Milivojevic, to lay wreaths of poppies by the side of the field. And we can now head towards kick-off. Let's quickly run you through the starting 11s. Toby Gillis and Paul Mortimer bringing you full commentary of Wolves against Crystal Palace. Wolves has Rui Patricio in goal. The back three, Willy Boly, Conor Coady, Max Kilman, Nelson Semedo, Leander Dendoncker, Ruben Neves and Rayan Aït-Nouri through the middle. Pedro Neto and Daniel Podence supporting Raul Jimenez up front. For Palace, it's Vicente Gaeta in goal, Nathaniel Klein, Sheku Kouyaté, Scott Dan and Patrick Van Aanholt across the back. Midfield 4 is Andros Townsend, Luka Milivojevic, Jairo Riedewald and Jeff Schlupp, and Wilfried Zaha and Michy Batshuayi are the strikers up front for Crystal Palace. The referee this evening is Martin Atkinson. And we await kick-off with Crystal Palace shooting from left to right in their familiar red and blue jerseys, blue shorts and blue socks with red at the tops of the knees as the two sets of players take the knee. No room for racism, the Premier League's campaign, and Palace do get us underway with the old gold of Wolves with their black shorts and gold socks shooting from right to left. Palace immediately back to their goalkeeper Vicente Gaeta, who goes long. And as you say, Paul Mortimer, this is a real clash of styles. It's a traditional old 4-4-2, but Roy Hodgson, as the oldest ever manager in the Premier League, has very much moved with the times, it has to be said.
Yeah, he has. And if you look at the Palace side, I've just been looking at it, it's an experienced side.
Yeah.
You know, they're not kids. You know, and so you expect, for me, I expect mature, solid, consistent performances, and I suppose that's where they are at the moment. They've performed really well, and they're confident in their play. I mean, that pass from Gaeta there shows a bit of confidence this early in the game. So I expect a decent performance for them, but it's a good Wolves side.
They're attacking at the moment at Crystal Palace with Jairo Riedewald. He's managed to find Andros Townsend, 25 yards from goal, works it to the left side of the 18-yard box. There's the trickery from Wilfried Zaha. He took on Willy Boly, but worked it onto his left foot and fired from the angle high and wide. But there is threatening attacking behaviour from Crystal Palace so far.
Well, one of the things you alluded to when you looked at their goal scoring is quick start. And you can't get any quicker than that. A shot, I know it's not on target, but you've driven into their box and got a shot in.
And they're winning their challenges as well. Although Townsend couldn't keep possession there, got his body there in front of Rayan Aït-Nouri, who's, as we've mentioned, making his debut. His first touch was to lose the ball, but his team have got it now. They're working it down the right-hand side with Raul Jimenez. There's Nelson Semedo, the real star, I think, in many ways of their summer. Signed from Barcelona for big money to replace Matt Doherty, and he has started every game since his arrival now.
He's done well, because I wasn't having him. I saw him play for Barcelona. I think he was in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And it's as poor a defensive display as I think I've seen. If truth be told, he looked a weak link on the night.
There was a lot of people that questioned his one-on-one defending, but to be fair, he was behind Leo Messi, and I'm not sure how much help he'd have got.
Fair play.
Ball forward by Raul Jimenez, towards Raul Jimenez, couldn't find its target, but Wolves have won it back again. There's the ball in by Podence, it's worked away by Dan, comes back to Podence towards the edge of the box. Podence goes cross out to the right hand side. Semedo's having to track and does really well to keep the ball in play. Now he's got the chance to cross. There's the delivery towards Jimenez, and it's dropped down off of the defensive header by Klein, but the shot went over. There was a foul though, I think, on Kouyaté by Jimenez, who was all over him, frankly, and so it was perhaps a surprise it took that long for the whistle.
Good play from Podence. I know it's not a great ball out there, but the intent is right, and no one goes out and shuts down Semedo. They let him cross the ball, and it's a foul, but I think that's Dendoncker, who I think is very fortunate that the whistle blew, because ballooning that over the bar from just about 6 or 7 yards.
It was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You're absolutely right. 3 minutes gone here on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 0. If you are listening, wherever you're listening around the world, we'd love to have you join us. At TalkSport Live is the Twitter account. Do send us predictions, and as always, it's my thing really, I like to ask for photos. Show me your view. Where are you listening to us from around the world? At TalkSport Live. Get them coming, and we'll try and say hello and read out your predictions and your thoughts on this one. Where do you think either of these two sides could finish this season? Who will finish the high? Ball is with Dendoncker in the midfield there. He's worked it back to Coady. He's played every single minute of Premier League action since Wolves' return. Extraordinary for a man already in his 11th game for club and country this season. Semedo just got a bit fortunate getting away from Schlupp. He's got a second bite of the cherry there, Schlupp, with the tackle on Pedro Neto. His clearance up towards halfway is picked up by Ruben Neves, whose high one out to the left-hand side finds Aït-Nouri. Back he comes to Kilman. Now onto the left for Raul Jimenez, who will always run the channels if needed.
I'm surprised he stayed. I'm surprised a bigger side didn't, no disrespect to Wolves, come in for Jimenez, because Man United could do with someone like him up front.
Yeah.
A proper centre forward, target man.
34 Premier League goals for him now. Ball into the box, looking for Neto, might loop up off of Dendoncker again, comes back out to Neves. His shot takes a deflection, will run out to the left side of the 18-yard box. Guaita rushes to get it. It was outside the box. He's put his right foot around it, pulled it back in, and he's standing on his penalty spot with the ball. 5 minutes on the clock. Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 0. It's already quite an open game, Paul.
It is, but what concerns me from Wolves' right, Palace's left, is Semedo is not being marked, and he's been allowed to drift those crosses in, and I'm virtually sure that Roy Hodgson will be getting a massive message out to Van Arnold and Schlupp to block the crosses, because he's a very good cross. He showed 2 very good crosses that are stood up for Jimenez to attack, and I can't see that he'd allow that to continue.
Ball is with Neves in the midfield. He's worked it out to the right for Boly. Willy Boly. Leaves it 3 or 4 yards to his right for Jimenez, who's moved it back to him. And now here's Coady. High to the left for Aït-Nouri. Back it goes to Kilman. I don't know if you saw the interview with Coady after the last match, where Kilman was given man of the match, and Coady was told about it and was like, oh really, I thought you got me on for an interview because I was getting it. He was very upset. Here's Nelson Semedo moving it infield to Neto, and Neves has let it run to Podence, left side of the 18-yard box, cuts inside Townsend, might have opened up for a shot. Instead the cross came in. It's a good cross. It found Dendoncker, and his header, while pretty tame in power, very nearly crept inside Guaita's right-hand post. It's just drifted wide.
Yeah, it's really good play from Podence, but no one gets to him quick enough. I think Aït-Nouri stays wide, so Nathaniel Klein can't go to him, and Townsend gets to him too late, so he's allowed to pick his cross. And Dendoncker, they're big in there, Wolves, big side. Can't keep allowing them to put crosses in the box, because they will get it right once.
Chico Fernandez has been in touch, listening from Buffalo, New York. Beautiful view of what looks like a forest and a lovely sun. Would that be a sunrise? No, maybe not. Sunset, perhaps, already by now. Wolves will chase down and eat the Palace. Blimey. Doing well to do that. Shane's been in touch from Indiana. Wolves will win this 2-0. Sean also predicting a 2-0 victory. It's hard to believe Zaha's still at Palace after all the interest from bigger teams through the years. Yeah, I mean, you talk about Jimenez, you'd say very, very similar about Wilfried Zaha. In fact, there was a really interesting quote from Roy Hodgson, who was asked about Zaha's form, which has been exemplary so far this season. He's already beaten his goal-scoring record of last season, the whole of last season, with his 5 goals so far. And he said, basically, I think he just still wants to play in the Champions League. And of course, the best way to do that is to be the very, very best version of Wilfried Zaha he can for Crystal Palace. Kouyate's long ball forward. Batshuayi will chase. Kilman left foot clearance into the sky. Batshuayi will control it instantly as it drops out of the sky, but it was out of play for a Palace throw. He made sure of that first. And Nathaniel Klein, back in a Crystal Palace shirt, is ready to take the throw. Another one that you feel might have had perhaps an even better Liverpool career had injuries not troubled him.
He was on the brink of England, wasn't he? He was a very good player. Injuries, you know,
a bit like Ings in some ways.
Yes, exactly right. But here he is playing again, and he's just happy to be playing. Don't worry about anything else. I really do believe that.
He'll be a great acquisition for them, won't it? There's any doubt. Ball is on the far side with Neto. It's come across now from Dendoncker to Podence. Podence opens up and hits it.
Great strike.
And Guaita, as it was creeping into his top corner, had to get underneath it and push it over the bar.
What a great strike that was. And he's having more and more influence in the game. He comes a little bit late. If you look at him at the back post, he's not marked. So, and you know what he's going to do. He's going to cut in on his right foot and try to drift it in, but you can't stop him. He's got too much time and space. Little bits of work that Roy Hodgson's got to see and start putting those messages out to his players.
Corner taken short, always poor, frankly, and they're a bit fortunate that they've got the ball back. It's with Semedo over on the far side. Header away by Milivojevic. Now Neves volleys it back towards the 18-yard box. It's chased all the way by Dendoncker. He's claiming that Kouyaté got his head on it, and the referee agrees with him. Throw in to Wolves.
Good spell for Wolves. They're not allowing Palace to get the ball out of their half. They're keeping it in there and they're putting them under pressure. And the thing about it is they're getting crosses in.
Aït-Nouri takes on Jairo Riedewald. He's done well to get it back to a teammate. And again, it's a Palace body that gets the last touch. This time Klein, throw in. Aït-Nouri gives it to Podence. Townsend challenges once more. And it's another throw for Wolves. 10 minutes on the clock already. It's gone quickly. 0-0. Aït-Nouri drops it into Jimenez. That was poor from Jimenez. That is a throw to Crystal
For
Palace.
him, poor touch, wasn't it? And it lets Palace off the hook, doesn't it, really? Because you just keep that pressure on and keep that pressure on. And what they'll do now, Wolves, is they'll try and work hard to keep the ball in Palace's half.
DJ Keefe has been in touch. Blue Sky Delight today in South Beach and enjoying the commentary. Arsenal fan tuning in for fun. That's what we want, but I'll take a Palace win. All respect to London teams, and it does look like a nice sunny day with some palm trees there. Are you doing some decorating, DJ Keefe? I wonder, with what it looks like in your room. Ball is on the right hand side for Wolves with Neto. Palace can't get out of their half at the moment. Back they come to Neves. Now Semedo up against Wilfried Zaha over on that far side. Coming back doing his defensive duties and happy to do so. Wolves come back into their own half with Coady. Now they'll work it to the near side, the left. Little shimmy by Aït-Nouri to get away from Batshuayi and open up the opportunity to cross. Riedewald sticks to his task, gets the block in from the cross. It's a decent start to his Premier League career from Rayan Aït-Nouri. He's won his team the corner.
We can see what he's about. Good change of pace, rangy, isn't he? Looks really like a lot of growing left to do. Good left foot, gives them balance. Not afraid to go and take the defenders on. I thought he should have crossed it first time there, but that'll give him some confidence.
The diminutive Podence will take the corner. He's got Neto short if he wishes to change the angle. And that's exactly what he does. Neto's left foot cross comes in. Oh dear, it looked like a free header. It's going to drop to Dendoncker in the box anyway. Now Aït-Nouri drills it towards goal. That one's taken a deflection as well and gone behind. I think it was Batshuayi that came and closed it down. And it's another corner to Wolves.
Well, Boly should score. As far as he should make the keeper work. He's not got enough, and it's a free header. Who's supposed to be marking him? Completely free.
Yeah.
Incredible, but he's not managed to get his head on it.
Similar routine available if they want. They're going to do it again. Neto's short corner comes off of Van Aanholt this time, and that's another one.
And they just have to clear their heads, Palace. I think they got away with a bit of luck there. Now they've just got to clear their heads and defend. That first ball in, attack that first ball and see that clear.
Podence this time does deliver it in towards the near post. That one was poor, and it was Batshuayi to hook it away on the volley into the near side. We've got loads of tweets coming in. Shane Moran, or Moran, I hope I pronounced it right one of the ways. One of my favourite games in the Premier League, this. Wolves 2-1 for me, listening from Tamworth, Australia. Zaha the key for Palace if the midfield can gain control. But but he does think Wolves will keep things solid today. They usually do. They've got the ball at the moment out on the far side. It's with Nelson Semedo, now to Neto up against Patrick Van Aanholt, works it onto his left foot, deep cross in, Guaita read it all the way, runs to the right edge of his 6-yard box and claims comfortably. And
that's what you need from your goalkeeper, just to relieve a bit of pressure. Now all he's got to do is just take his time, just take a breath, because they've been under a little bit of pressure and now they just have to just keep things calm and just settle down.
Segun in Nigeria is predicting a Wolves victory. That's at least 3 of the continents we've gone to now, with the US, Australia and now Nigeria getting involved. Do join us at Talk Sport Live. Palace, first time in a while, have got a little bit of control in the midfield. That's a nice bit of strength there by Schlupp, but he's worked it left for Zaha. Schlupp again, edge of the 18-yard box. He's got away from one and a second, and his cross came in, and this time it's Crystal Palace's turn to win a corner because Coady's headed it behind.
And I like Jeffrey Schlupp because that's what he does. He'll drive, he'll try and get across it. No fuss, no mess, no fuss. I'm just going to drive along, use my pace and try and commit the fullback and get crosses in. And Batshuayi will love that because he'll know the ball's coming.
Once whilst at Leicester he was given a trial at Man United, and that was good Man United as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he's obviously a talent. You don't get recognised even for a trial without having something about you. But the corner was poor. Wolves have got it away, although Jimenez's touch is poor. Palace work it to Batshuayi. He's gone down in the 18-yard box. No claims of a penalty, but it's with Van Aanholt far side. Now Milivojevic up against Dendoncker, arms behind his back, no claim of a handball, and it's run away for Wolves with Podence. And now here's Neto over on the far side. Podence again, Milivojevic tracking him all the way. It was he who made the error. Can Podence take him on for pace? He can. What's the cross like? It's straight into the arms of Guaita. Quarter of an hour gone, 0-0.
Podence is very Eden Hazard-like, low centre of gravity. That first 2 or 3 yards he creates his little bit of space there. Just didn't manage to get his foot round that one, but I do like him, and he's having more and more of an influence on the game for Wolves.
Still just 25 years of age, room to grow. That's the voice of Paul Mortimer you're hearing there, formerly of Crystal Palace. Did you enjoy your time at Palace?
No. Does that answer the question for you?
I think, was it 6 games you played for them?
Probably. It was, no, I don't know. I really don't know. I call it the dark days.
Oh, wow.
The team had changed. They
Shall
just sold Ian Wright.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Why did you bring that up? But, the whole team was in transition.
Yeah.
And the players were in charge. It was like the lunatics running the asylum. The players were in charge, and it was very, very strange.
Oh dear, I did not expect
Why
that.
did you ask? Why did you ask?
It's a good club though, isn't
it? It is a very good club, without a doubt.
And they're on the attack at the moment with Van Aanholt, and Batshuayi's in the middle to reopen his Crystal Palace account,
offside.
Except for the fact that the flag is up. It was a super first time finish from the Belgian international, who when he's in form is lethal, but he just strayed off there.
Yeah, that's the one flaw he has. He plays on the shoulder, and far too often he's offside. And we'll see from here if he doesn't actually need to be offside. He really doesn't need to be offside because the space is already there. Conor Coady can do nothing if the ball is right. Yeah. He doesn't have to. I mean, it's a wonderful play down the left-hand side and ends with Van Aanholt. And honestly, he really does not have to be offside, but I think that happens too often for him. Stops him being one of the top centre-forwards. He's offside too often.
And Wolves given a let-off, and it really was, because, as Paul says, just half a yard, not even that, he'd have been on, and he'd have still been able to tuck that one away.
Well, the strange thing is, what we're taught there is, if he runs not in a straight line, but let's say towards the corner flag on the right, he stays on side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if he does, he can open up his body, he can see the ball, but because he's running a straight line, he's 2 or 3 yards offside.
And now they're defending as well, with Podence chasing a ball down towards the byline right-hand side. High cross towards Neto. Chiarte with the header away. Oh, and that's come out to Nouri, who scored a debut goal. First time, low shot, left-footed from the corner of the 18. 18-yard box, and Guaita is beaten. Wolves 1, Palace 0, and that one will count.
Well, Palace have had real problems defending the right-hand side because Nathaniel Klein has been 2 against 1, and it must be Andros Townsend who's supposed to be coming back because the ball's lifted to the back post, and you think, as you can see now in the setup, Jimenez is I think it's Neto sitting on Klein, and El Nouri's not even in picture, and then as it's drifted to the back post, here he comes, and no one is marking him. Townsend comes late. It's a great strike. He hits it into the ground. That's what beats Guaita. And Palace are 1-0 down, and simply because they haven't defended the back post area, as they've had a couple of warnings, but they've just not heeded it.
It was a super finish.
Great
what
finish.
A way to mark your debut.
Yeah. Lots to do still. 2 players, a little bit of a crowd in front of him, but he's kept. You know what normally can happen with a youngster is you get excited and you can balloon that anywhere, but such great technique and composure from the young lad making his debut. It's a wonderful finish.
On loan from Angers in France, but there's a £20 million option on him. Well, I'll tell you what, that was the quality of a £20 million player, that's for sure. And he's one of those where you think, you know, if he's got that in his locker and he can build on it, then 20 million will seem a bargain one day in the future.
Without a doubt.
Palace trying to respond quickly. Here's Zaha to Milivojevic. Ball up towards Riedewald on the edge of the 18-yard box, skimmed off the Dutchman's head and runs on through to the goalkeeper. And it's a rare touch in this first 20 minutes or so for Rui Patricio.
But you see, though, how important the Batshuayi goal becomes. Or non-goal becomes.
Well, it doesn't happen. They're not behind by now if it does. I mean, probably that goal doesn't happen either, does it? Yeah. They're attacking again. Here's Jimenez, just got taken off him by Kouyaté. Dan will complete the clearance up towards the far side, about halfway. Zaha won't win that one. And Boly, I should say, will let that one run out of play far side. Throw into Wolves.
And I you know, as I said to you before, I think not blocking the crosses, Palace, not marking at the back post, but you can't take anything away from El Nouri. It was a wonderful strike, and he now has to calm down. I know what it's like to score your debut goal. Your head is all over the place, but he's just got to calm himself down because it's so early in the game as well.
I'm just looking, and I know you don't want to talk about this, Paul, at your record at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
You got draws with Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. You beat Liverpool twice.
I know.
You beat Everton once, and then your final appearance, assuming this is all correct, you did lose 4-1 to Arsenal. But that is not a bad little record. And maybe their problem at the time was that you weren't playing more.
Well, I'd like to be able to say that, but I mean, like I say, we had 2 changes of manager. I think Steve Coppell went. And it wasn't a great time for the club.
Nelson Semedo goes for goal from distance, left-footed, and it was only just wide of Vicente Guaita's right-hand post. He flew to try and stop it. He was not certain it wasn't going in, and my word, Nelson Semedo not a long way away from opening his account for Wolves.
Well, as he comes inside the pitch, no Palace player shows any urgency to go and close him down. None whatsoever, and it is close, I've got to say. They've got to learn, Palace, because the defending in the right back position, just in front of the right back, and in the left, just in front of the left back, is not good enough. So the 2 wide players, Schlupp and Townsend, have to do a little bit more to help Klein and Van Arnold, who are being outnumbered.
Here they come now with Milivojevic, the skipper. Infield it comes to Jairo Riedewald, who's finally, after all this time at the club, getting a regular run in the team.
Looks a decent player
centre half. Yeah, he does. But he joined as a centre half, and now beginning to just get some talk of potentially joining up with the international side of the Netherlands. It was, of course, Ronald Koeman. What am I talking about? It was the Dutch national boss who brought him to Crystal Palace, De Boer.
Yeah, who was not there long enough.
No.
Tried to change too much too quickly, I think.
Absolutely. And he is now in charge with the Dutch national side. And so perhaps that's an opportunity for Riedewald to get international honours. Here's someone who does have Dutch international honours, Van Arnholt. He's worked it up the left-hand side to Zaha, who really does appear to be wide on the left-hand side an awful lot so far today. And very much not quite up with Batshuayi for most of this. Drifts off him. It's Wolves who are attacking though down that wing that Zaha's on with Semedo. Neto just on the slide comes back to Boly. Now Coady, and he works it to the left of the back three. Kilman, Podence, box of tricks is Podence.
What I like with Wolves, they make the pitch big. You know, Semedo on one side is very, very wide, very wide.
Which you would assume would be quite difficult because they've only got one man on each wing, haven't they? Rather than
but you see, it opens up the pitch, let's just have a look at this.
Yeah, they've worked it similarly down the right to Semedo, half volley cross to Jimenez, takes it down, and then I think he was caught in two minds really about whether to shoot with his second touch or turn, and he sort of hit it far too firmly away from himself and away from goal, and that's going to be a goal kick for Crystal Palace. Half a chance that for Jimenez, a striker of his quality at least.
Well, what you consider, if you look with the two wide players, Semedo and El Nouri, Neto, Podence, Dendoncker, Neves and Jimenez, who drops back in midfield, totally outnumber Palace. That's why they're getting so much joy. Palace look outnumbered in the middle of the park.
And Podence is chasing down towards the byline again, this time on the near side, the left. Firm ball back down the line looking for Nouri, but it's Townsend in the way. Townsend was in the Talk Sport building over the course of the week. Nice to see him, and he had a big old row about the pay-per-view situation in England, where for many of you listening around the world, you'll be surprised to hear we in the UK under normal circumstances don't get to watch every single match. They've changed that because there's no fans, as Dendoncker goes for goal and hits the bar from fully 25 yards, and my word, Wolves are so close to doubling the advantage. Not even 25 gone, but Dendoncker on the half volley, swinging away from the goalkeeper, who was nowhere near it, frankly, hits the woodwork.
And as I said, if you look at the way they're playing, they are outnumbering Palace in midfield. As he shoots Dendoncker, who's coming to shut him down? The centre forward, Wilfried Zaha. They're outnumbering Palace, and their system is far superior at the moment, and it's allowing the Wolves players time and space. 20-25 yards out, as you saw with Dendoncker there.
It's always been the issue with 4-4-2, hasn't it? Always. That any other system pretty much entirely means that you've got an extra number in midfield.
Well, it's too rigid. That's the thing. You know, the two wide players stay wide, the two central players stay central, and there is no fluidity about it. Plus, you need a centre forward to come and step back into midfield. But if you look at Wolves, the way they're playing with Jimenez up front, but Jimenez has come back onto the right wing and let Dendoncker go forward, or Neto go forward, or Neves go. So they are always rotating. It's a fluid sort of system that you cannot have with the rigidity of 4-4-2.
Welcome to David Broom, listening in Wellington in New Zealand. Said it's nice to listen at a decent time for a change. I'm sure it is horrible following Premier League football in New Zealand. He says Palace to win 2-1 as Townsend goes for goal from distance. An easy little block there by Kilman, and it bobbles on through to Rui Patricio.
Palace to win. Well, they've got to hit the target first. I think this has been all Wolves this spell. Wolves have been on top. There's no disputing that.
Freeman listening in Nigeria. Wolves 2, Palace 1. Emmanuel from Abia State in Nigeria. Wolves and Palace ending a draw. He says 1 apiece. Well, they have had the ball in the net once each, but Palace's was ruled out for offside. And frankly, they've offered very little other than that Batshuayi effort, which really should have been a goal because it was his error without a shadow. As Wolves win it high up the field, and suddenly it's 3-on-3 here. Neto on the right, Jimenez in all sorts of space, as is Podence. Oh, it was Podence and Jimenez, two of them in the box against one. Nathaniel Clyne didn't know who to go to. He went to neither. Podence, half volleys home. Wolves have doubled their advantage, and it's nothing less than they deserve.
Well, Roy Hodgson must change the system. It's not working, and that is the issue they're having with the system. I think it's Neves that wins the ball, and as he turns to drive forward, as you said, Toby, they're 3v3, and it just needs a decent cross. And if you look at the way they're set up, they outnumber Palace in that area. So Dendoncker wins it, sets Neves up, he plays it wide, and they're on. And it's actually one at the back post, so it's 4 but the cross is a very, very good cross. I have to say, it's a very, very good cross from Neto. Looks up and he just guides it in. The pace is on the ball for Podence. He just, as long as he gets a good contact, that's what ball's in the net. And I think they're going to have to change their system, Palace, or this could be a very difficult night for them.
I love Jimenez's reaction when the ball goes in, because he goes past him and then Podence taps it home and he initially punches the air with delight and then he smashes it back into net because he's annoyed it didn't come for him. Absolutely love that. That is a striker. It to Dan. Now Riedewald to the near side. Andros Townsend tight to the right touchline. He's got Klein going outside of him. It allows him to just move infield, and then a terrible pass straight behind it goes for a goal kick.
That's just not good enough. But even then, how many options does Andros Townsend have? It's fairly predictable where he's going to go anyway. So if Klein does get there, he's shut down easily. The system, I think Roy Hodgson has to tinker with, is far too easy for Wolves to deal with. As we look at the cross again, it is a lovely cross, and you can see Jimenez, exactly what you said. He's gutted. It's gone past him.
Furious.
He's desperate. And look at him. He's desperate. But the ball goes in the net, and you're like, he's not happy.
Yeah, no, he's not happy. No, but I mean, actually, it was. To be fair, it was his run that sort of confused Klein, wasn't it?
Right.
And he thought, I'm not quite sure where to go with this.
Klein has to go near post. He's got to go and try and block that off.
So you're saying he did the right thing?
Yeah, he has to go near post. He's got to, because that's where the danger is. The danger is if he gets across the near post, he can block it. And he can't worry about the back post. That's someone else's business.
Little trip on Neto, somehow kept his feet. Then he did fall down, and just as Palace took the ball away from him, the free kick is given. Half hour on the clock. Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 0. It's with Coady to Kilman. Now to the left-hand side to the score of the opening goal. Nouri tries the give and go with Podence, but he didn't quite read it. Dealt with by Klein. Into the box to Coady, who... I mean, the one thing I would say about this Palace team, it's slightly strange for me, is Riedewald to centre-half, playing in that sort of defensive midfield position, and Kouyate's a defensive midfielder, playing at centre-half, and I've never quite understood that about this team.
Well, I think they look at Riedewald and say, no, for what we are, for how we defend, our centre-halves are expected to be 6 foot plus and good in the air. And Riedewald is a modern, let's say, centre-half, who probably plays better in a 3, maybe as a sweeper, because he's not the biggest.
If Wolves get 6 more, they go top.
Yeah, I can't see that.
We've seen ridiculous results this season, Paul. You never know. We saw Liverpool ship 7. Palace aren't as good as them.
Do you know what? Yeah, you're right. And the way that Wolves are attacking as well, flooding forward.
You might as well, because there's no pressure on them.
No, there's none. They're fairly comfortable, and there's no urgency from Palace either. He knows how to set up a team to defend, Roy Hodgson, but it starts with blocking crosses, and here Semedo goes again. You've got to stop him getting joy down the wing.
Just got a decent overview, Paul, of the team on the monitor here, and I just wonder if there has been a shift there. It really looked like Schlupp was up very much alongside Milivojevic and Riedewald with sort of Townsend right and Zaha left, and I wonder whether there has been a bit of a shift there in terms of getting those numbers balanced up in the midfield.
I think they have to do it. I think you're talking about sort of 5 in midfield and 1. They've got to match up in midfield, because that's where the game's being won and lost at the moment.
Here comes Nouri though, attacking once again, left side of the 18-yard box. Ball into the box was dangerous. Dan slides it away. Batshuayi fighting for it, but he's up against 2 big brutes at the back, Kilman and Coady, and they emerge with the ball, and there's Neves and now Podence, and again there's always an extra body for Wolves. This time it was Dendoncker, quickly back to Coady, and they'll start once more.
And we play, sometimes you have possession games where one team's overloaded and the job is to find the spare man. That's all they've been doing, Wolves. Nothing more, nothing less. Can we find the spare man? Can we isolate the spare man on his own with a defender and then go and support him, or let him cross it and let him get the ball and cross it and get in the box everyone else? That's all they're doing, and they're getting joy, and it's far too easy. Far too easy.
Little nudge on Wilfried Zaha gives a free kick to the Eagles, who are doing anything but soaring at the moment. It's more like bedding down for the winter. Klein has it right hand side, just inside Wolves' half. Back to the halfway line for Milivojevic. Kouyaté. Dan out to the left hand side, tight to the touchline for Van Aanholt. Tries the 1-2 with Zaha, but Zaha doesn't read the run, comes back instead for Schlupp. Now here's Dan.
And if you look at the way Wolves are flooding the area with players, the Palace players have got no one to pass to. Look how it's been shut down. Now they're squeezing up and shutting everything down.
Can Milivojevic play a ball through the line to Riedewald? He can, but it was a tackle by Neves that took it away from him. Palace win it back though. Here's Zaha, into the box it goes. He's going to bounce back off of a Wolves player to him. Townsend centre of the field to Schlupp. There's the ball to Van Aanholt. Might just get a bit fortunate. Now Zaha attacking the left edge of the 18-yard box, tackled by Semedo, turned behind for the corner.
And it's good play from Palace. It really is. That they're showing what they can do if they go and commit players forward. Zaha's in a very good position, and he's got to get that tackle right, Semedo, because otherwise Zaha's penchant for falling down, that could have been a pen. So it's a good
one way of putting it. Here's the corner, into the box it goes. Gone a long way. Did that come off of a Wolves player last, and did it go behind? Yes it did, and yes it did. So another corner to Palace.
But I think it's probably Boly, but I think it's just hit him. I don't think, it's come over a defender's or an attacker's head, and I think it's just hit him. But they're a big side. They're a big side, Wolves. Look at they're big, and these crosses have to be accurate.
Here comes Milivojevic's corner. In it goes again. Oh, it's flicked to the back post to Dan, and he got his head on it. Dendoncker, I think it would have been an easy save for the keeper, but Dendoncker couldn't be sure. Smashed behind from just in front of Rui Patricio for another corner.
Yeah, keeper's saving that, I've got to say, but defender does a good job.
Pushing in 44-3, right?
Here comes another corner, this time from the near side. Townsend will take it. Referee just having a little word with a couple of players. I think he's watching Aït-Nouri and Jairo Riedewald. There's the delivery. This one's far too close to the goalkeeper, Rui Patricio, and Townsend's having a terrible game for Palace, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not in good form. There's absolutely no dispute. As we see the chance again. Yeah, it's a regulation save, I would think, but I think it's Dendoncker does well to clear it.
Long one away by Rui Patricio. Jimenez realised that he wasn't going to get onto it, so he's allowed the header away and then blocked Riedewald, and that's allowed Wolves to get back a free ball for Neves. Kilman now works it left just inside the Palace half for Aït-Nouri. Kilman, and here's Coady. What a record he's got since Wolves came to the Premier League, as I mentioned. Not missed a minute of Premier League football. There's so much value in players that don't get injured, isn't there?
Well, you need them. They're the bedrock of your side. If you've got half a dozen of them, I think you're winning something. I really do. Because if you've got that stability in a side, wow, and they're playing at a good standard like Wolves are, you're going to be successful.
Coady has given a free kick away for the foul on Batshuayi. Just caught him a little bit late. Nothing more than a free kick. Jimenez, clever. That's the dark arts. He's just walked a yard in front of the free kick just as Milivojevic was going to take it.
That's a booking.
To force him to do something different.
That's a booking. In my book.
I was going to say, not according to Martin Atkinson.
No.
Van Aanholt gives it to Zaha. Dink over by Schlupp. It's such an awkward ball, though. To get those right is so hard. They're fortunate that Boly missed control. It came back to Zaha. Schlupp. Now Milivojevic. Up to Riedewald. It might just reach Zaha. Good strength as well to get away from Semedo. Tries it through to Van Aanholt. He's gone down. Referee spotted it and points to the spot. Now the question for me is, was he offside when the pass was played? If not, it's a clear penalty to Palace.
Well, we'll see, but it's a definite pen. If he doesn't get the ball there, I think it's Boly. You know Van Aanholt's going over.
Here we go. This is where we'll see. Zaha's ball up to Van Aanholt.
It's soft, yeah, but Boly doesn't get the ball. And he sticks his foot out, dangles his foot.
It's dear. It's a penalty, isn't it?
It's a penalty,
absolutely, no doubt about it.
And you can tell with Boly, not a lot of real complaint, is there?
No, certainly not. And Milivojevic, we know how good he is at these.
Oh, he's offside.
He's off. I wondered that.
He's offside. Yeah, he's offside.
Quite clearly.
Yeah.
I wondered it. It's not gonna happen for Palace.
It's offside.
And to be fair, on the balance, they don't deserve a really clear goal-scoring opportunity. But
Roy's not going to be happy.
VAR will rule this penalty out.
You know, I was at a Palace game not so long ago where they had a penalty given to Everton where it's just flicked one of their defenders' hands and he was fuming, Roy Hodgson. Oh dear.
This one's not even.
But it is offside. It's offside.
Absolutely. Yeah, he can't argue with it in any way, shape or form. Van Aanholt's furious. I did just wonder when I saw it, even in the very first instant, I thought he might just be off here.
Yeah.
And one of those rare moments where Toby Gillis is talking sense. That's why we usually have Paul Mortimer alongside me to actually provide some real sense.
But it was, I mean, as much as they'll be angry, the minute they go in and see it at half time, that will subside. Yeah. Because it's offside.
Well, I mean, I think the thing about it is that we know that they know that it was offside anyway. Now, with VAR, the anger produces one of the few advantages. It can subside, however tight. You just know that they've seen that it's offside.
Exactly right.
So
exactly right.
I think
some players will still moan.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It could be 10 yards offside.
Were you a moaner? Did you like a moaner?
Nah. Because I remember one of my mentors saying to me, "Listen, if moaning made the ref change his mind, I would legislate.
I was going to say,
all the time.
Have you ever seen a ref change his mind?
Absolutely not.
Literally never. No, I haven't.
But some players, it's how they let their tension out, is they have a moan up at the ref. The ref's not actually doing anything, but you know what? I've got to have a moan about him.
Klein has gone on the overlap again. Townsend elects not to deliver it for him. There's Milivojevic, 2 gold shirts around him. Neves has been penalised there. I think you're right. I think he got the ball.
But you see what they do well? They slow him down and then 2 go and shut him down. And that's what's happening all across the midfield, because if you look at them at the moment, they've got 5 in midfield, so they're totally saturated the area.
Itomakaro has been in touch. I hope he's wrong, I have to confess, Paul. He says, I think this is one of those games that's over after 30 minutes, listening to you from Port Harcourt in Nigeria. Well, I think you do Roy Hodgson a disservice.
Not with Zaha in the side.
No. We've already seen, if it wasn't for a foot offside, they'd be potentially back in this game.
And they've missed another one for offside as well, which I think is striker error. He shouldn't have been offside. So they have it in them to create chances, absolutely no doubt in my mind.
The question is, can they keep them out at the other end?
Well, they have for the last 5 minutes.
Right at this moment in time, they've gone to 3 at the back, with Milivojevic joining in.
Well, they have to match up in midfield because they're losing the battle in there.
And they have. Be interested to see whether Milivojevic does stay there. I think it was maybe just momentary as Townsend goes down, clutching at his face, and Martin Atkinson waves on a physio, but I don't know if he's going to need it. He's back to his feet there. Let's see this again. Townsend, it was Kilman that went in on him, definitely got a little bit of his face with an elbow, actually, possibly a bit lucky to avoid a yellow card for that one.
I think what it was the hard bit of your hand, of the edge of your hand, that he's just seen him off with 4-arm stroke hand in his face. That's painful.
I don't know what you've been doing. I've got baby soft hands.
Have you? What? Just knock the edge of your wrist and you see that you feel the bone on the edge there.
My hands are soft as anything.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Here's Jeff Schlupp. Of course, we're not allowed to test that theory out at the moment,
of course
so you're just going to have to believe me, Paul.
Yeah, see, I don't.
Boly away for Wolves. It's chested down by Coady under a bit of pressure from Jimenez. Nicely done that. And here's Schlupp, now worked out to the left side, midpoint of the Wolves half for Van Aanholt. One more again to Zaha. It's not really been at his threatening best so far as Wilfried Zaha, the Ivorian. Could have played for England, elected to go down the route of Ivory Coast. I suspect he would have had England caps, multiple England caps.
Oh, he would have. Oh, there's no disputing that.
Here's Van Aanholt. Little gap has opened up for him. Batshuayi back to Van Aanholt. This time it was onside. Coady. He's just a brilliant sweeper of the ball, isn't he? Run across, took it off his toes and cleared it away for Wolves.
He's a good player. But look how hard Wolves are working. They're 2-0 up. They don't need to. They could be cruising. But they're working really hard to close Palace down.
Here's Schlupp. Van Aanholt. Back to the halfway line for Coady. Moves away from Jimenez. Up to Batshuayi. Poor again from Batshuayi. Yes, it's space for Milivojevic, but he's forced him to run 10 yards when a little bit of momentum of that move has dropped. Milivojevic to Townsend. Chip ball to the right hand side for Riedewald. Certainly a bit more movement about Palace.
Yeah.
A bit more unpredictability with some of the positions that the players are popping up in. Klein to Coady. Third year at Crystal Palace after joining from West Ham. Zaha crowded out again, and Klein might have fouled Neves. Referees allowed it to go on. Coady on halfway for Palace, out to the left for Van Aanholt. Minute plus stoppage time left at the end of this first half. There's Van Aanholt's cross. Poor again, easy hook away for Wolves. Klein will pick up near enough on halfway. Out to Townsend. Infield firmly drilled, low to Milivojevic, floated on to Schlupp. That's poor from Schlupp. Neto will pick up and tear away. Van Aanholt gets back in and gives away the free kick again. Might be a bit fortunate to avoid a yellow card there, stopping that attack, but I think he's going to.
He will. No, he's not.
No, he is getting a yellow. Rightly so.
It's a booking, but if you look at how Wolves are totally saturating areas, you know, where Palace, you see most players look up and they've got their arms out. They've got no one to pass to because there is a Wolves player filling most gaps, and they've got to do more. Palace. Sometimes, you know what it's, get out your feet, hit a few long balls, and what that will do is that will force Wolves' defence to drop back and open up more space for Palace to play.
Subs bench for Palace includes Jordan Ayew back after a bout of coronavirus. Mamadou Sakho, James MacArthur, Christian Benteke, Eberechi, Eze and Martin Kelly. I suppose if you wanted to go that long route, Benteke might be an option. He's not exactly a goal scorer anymore, is he? 2 minutes of stoppage time for Wolves. They've got Kiana Hervert, Fabio Silva, the young striker, Roman Saiss, Joao Moutinho, Adama Traore and the young Owen Otasoe, the young American. He's only ever played once for Wolves. It'd be nice if he could get a Premier League debut today. Here's one who is on his Premier League debut, Nouri. Now Jimenez out to the left for Podence. That's a good ball infield for Jimenez. Loads of space on the far side for Semedo. 3 gold shirts in the box to aim for. Semedo finds Jimenez, I should say, and he's inexplicably passed it straight back out of the area and straight to Wilfried Zaha, who comes up towards halfway. Now he moves into the centre of the pitch. What's going on? They're just passing to each other. Zaha to Nouri. Now Neto. Podence behind him. Coyate's with him. And they're working it. Now Wolves back to halfway. That was a bizarre passage of play.
Yeah. But when Zaha had his cut inside the pitch and there's no one to hit.
No.
And that's been the biggest problem they've had. You look at Wolves, there is always an option. There is always a spare player because they're fluid in their play.
but a 5-yard square pass by Zaha straight to a Wolves player. I'm not sure about that. Neto was looped in over the keeper, and goodness me, he did not intend that. Guaita got back and tips it behind for the corner. That was definitely intended as a cross. You could see the way he looked. He looked up to Jimenez and thought, I'm going to deliver a cross in, and goodness me, for just a moment the miss hit was looping over Guaita, and you were convinced that Neto was about to score one of the fluky goals of the season, but Guaita prevents it.
So if you saw Guaita, as it struck, he's moving forward thinking, well, I'm just going to claim this, because he's anticipating where it's going to go, and then all of a sudden he's got to back off quickly and just about gets there.
Here comes the corner into the box. It goes. Guaita gets a good punch over Kilman. It comes back out, and then the half-volleyed shot comes back in from Semedo. It's over the crossbar, and that will be the last action of the first 45 minutes. A thoroughly entertaining first 45 minutes in which Rayan Ait-Nouri got his first ever goal in the Premier League on his first ever appearance in the Premier League, and then Daniel Podence with the brilliant first time finish from the left edge of the 18-yard box. Two very similar finishes, in fact, and that's why at half-time it's Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 0, and you are listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, texts, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Golf! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the double O duo of the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved Talk Sport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
Talk Sport.
Thoroughly enjoyable first half at Molineux. Goodness me, though, Wolves could be out of sight. Podence opens up and hits it. And Guaita, as it was creeping into his top corner, had to get underneath it and push it over the bar. And Batshuayi's in the middle to reopen his Crystal Palace account, except for the fact that the flag is up. Guaita with the header away. Oh, and that's come out to Ait-Nouri, who scored a debut goal. First time, low shot, turns. Dendoncker goes for goal and hits the bar from fully 25 yards. And my word, Wolves are so close to doubling the advantage. Neto on the right, Jimenez in all sorts of space, as is Podence. Oh, it was Podence and Jimenez, two of them in the box against one. Nathaniel Klein didn't know who to go to. He went to neither. Podence, half volleys home. Wolves have doubled their advantage, and it's nothing less than they deserve. Tries it through to Van Onno. It's gone down. Referee spotted it and points to the spot. Now the question for me is, was he offside when the pass was played? If not, it's a clear penalty to Palace. VAR will be out. I love that little bit was left in. That was like saying I was spot on. Don't get that very often. Paul Mortimer, what on earth? I don't think I expected this game to be quite as one-sided as it has been in the first 45.
Well, it didn't start that way, did it? I mean, as you alluded to, with Palace's quick starts, they started really well, started really strongly, but something changed because all of a sudden, Wolves started to get on top, and you could see the system that they have works for them, and it totally dominated Palace's rigid 4-4-2. Their midfield, Wolves' midfield had about 6 or 7 players in it. It was so fluid. And Palace couldn't, they were chasing shadows half the time. Defensively, they couldn't find gaps. And then as it showed in Podence's goal, they flooded forward Wolves, and he could have picked any player to put that in the net. So he's got work to do, Roy Hodgson. He's got work to do this half.
I mean, it tells you a lot about Palace's performance that Wolves just don't do goals in the first half of matches normally. Hadn't scored one in the first half of either of their last 5 games. And actually, if you go back over their period back in the Premier League, their last 82 matches, they haven't scored in the first half of 58 of them. Yeah. I mean, Palace, I can't quite... It's almost unforgivable 45 somehow.
Yeah, it's not been great. I've seen this before. In spells they look like 11 strangers. They really do. They don't look like a team, and that's strange. For team solidity is hugely important to him. It's sort of the foundations of how he plays. But maybe they're just not listening. I don't know, but they've just not produced a performance worthy of Roy Hodgson.
When Palace last had a start as good as this in the Premier League, this is their joint best Premier League start, although their goal difference was slightly worse today. They drew their next one and then went on a huge losing run all the way up to Christmas. That is, I wonder somehow almost if you're kind of better off starting kind of averagely, aren't you, so that you can't rest on your laurels somehow. I wonder if there's a little bit of that has crept in.
I can't believe it is. If the truth be told, I'd be very, very surprised if they're resting on their laurels. I mean, they've got some decent games coming up. Leeds and Burnley and Newcastle. They've got winnable games. So, and this is one where you want to nick a point from, so you can take that into the next games. But they're not performing well. No. And they need something this half.
Look, one of Roy Hodgson's greatest ever wins as a coach, he said, was a 5-1 victory with West Brom in the West Country derby at Wolves back in February 2012. I'll tell you what, if they were to win this game, I think that would be up there with that result as well. Look, loads more to come over the course of the weekend here on Premier League Live. This includes Chelsea, who go to Burnley today. 8 years in charge of Burnley for Sean Dyche. Let's hear from Frank Lampard, his opposite number tomorrow, who was asked today if he's planning on managing Chelsea for a similar amount of time.
I'm planning for the weekend, I'm planning for the next month, I'm planning to see how well we can do this season. No manager, I think, will probably commit to the answer you want me to say there, that I'm going to plan any further than this season. So I think it's a great achievement by Sean and what he's done at Burnley, and an absolutely fantastic achievement actually when you think about the balance of the Premier League and the spend and the outgoings and what results he's produced there year after year. I've got absolutely a huge amount of respect for him, and they're always a difficult game. We had 2 good results against Burnley last year, but I've got no doubts, and I've watched them, particularly their last game against Tottenham, and how difficult they made it for Tottenham. It's going to be a very tough match.
Paul, Sean Dyche is in a very rare position at the moment. There's all sorts of talk about a takeover at Burnley, a £200 million takeover with an Egyptian in charge potentially buying the club out. But the suggestion is that he's so full of admiration for what Sean Dyche has done that there's no suggestion he'd leave, which is very unusual for a takeover, isn't it? That's how good he's doing.
He's done a fantastic job. I mean, I was sort of questioning, I think at the start of this season, back in the last season, whether he'd taken them as far as they could go, and whether he now needs to step on and step up to a level where he's in a team that's challenging for European places, that's challenging to win things rather than surviving in the league, because I think he's a better manager than Burnley. No disrespect to Burnley, I do, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, so he's going to have to stick with Burnley, and hopefully this takeover gives him the money that allows him to compete.
Yeah, I mean, just to take them to the next level would be an incredible achievement, because we shouldn't make any mistakes. Staying in the Premier League every year is amazing for Burnley.
It's a fantastic achievement. It's not a big club. It's not supported like all the other. The fact that they got into Europe not so long ago is a magnificent achievement for a club of that size. So, but when you do that, as he did, you then want to do it again.
Yeah.
And you want to hope that your club matches your ambitions.
But we are watching two big clubs this evening. It's Wolves, it's Crystal Palace. Second half coming up. Wolves 2-0 up here on Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team.
Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Wolves against Crystal Palace from Molineux I'm your host, Toby Gillis. Alongside me, the former Charlton, Aston Villa, but definitely not Crystal Palace winger, Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. Hopefully you haven't tuned in late, so you get that joke, because I think it's fair to say it's a period that you'd rather forget, Paul. What do we think from Palace? Is it a situation where Hodgson needs to be making personnel changes or system changes? Because the one thing you'd say about the 11 out on the pitch, they can change that system.
Yeah, it's probably I'm going to give it 10 minutes, and if nothing's changed, I'm going to make a raft of changes. Yeah. I think that's what is going to happen, because they just haven't worked out how to, deal with Wolves' system, and it is the system. Outnumbered in midfield, outnumbered on the flanks. When Wolves switch to play, they keep their wide players wide. Said to you right from the start, the two fullbacks are getting far too much joy crossing and cutting in and shooting, and enough Palace to negate all of that, and that's why they find themselves 2-0 down. Yeah, there are no changes as Wolves get us back underway for the second half. 2-0 up. Patricio in goal for Wolves. Then the back three, Boly, Coady and Kilman. Semedo, Dendoncker, Neves and Ainori in the midfield, with Neto and Podence really flitting either side of Jimenez up front. For Palace, Guaita in goal, Klein, Kouyaté, Dan and Van Aanholt, then Townsend, Milivoje and Schlupp, and then Zaha and Batshuayi. Although to be fair, at times it has been Zaha left, Townsend right and Batshuayi in the middle, with Milivoje, Riedewald and Schlupp making up a midfield three. So make of that what you will, as Crystal Palace get an early free kick from wide on their left-hand side, the near side, which Milivoje is lining up, and this is a decent position, this, for Crystal Palace, with bodies coming forward to try and get on the end of it. Here comes the one arm into the sky. It was towards Schlupp. It's cleared away to Townsend, who's hit it. Keeper spilled it, but it didn't go too far away, and he's grabbed it at the second attempt. And that's the first decent hit from Andros Townsend, I think, in this game so far. And came through a crowd of bodies. It was going wide, but and it's the first shot on target of sorts, because it was never going on target. Yeah. for Patricio to save.
Yeah, I think it would have probably counted as an own goal, wouldn't it? Goodness me, what was that from Riedewald? He has just about found his teammate. It dropped. I don't know if he got a gust of wind to help that down to Nathaniel Klein. Look, he'd smashed it out of play for a throw for a moment. He's got it back and he's played it forward to Batshuayi. Forced back to halfway, but he's worked it left for Van Aanholt. And now here's Schlupp. Two golden shirts around him. Tight to their touchline is Van Aanholt, back down the line into Riedewald. Now Schlupp takes it on down towards the byline, gets the crossing, can't quite find Batshuayi, and in fact Batshuayi has fouled Conor Coady right down on the goal line, and it'll be a chance for them to clear away through Rui Patricio.
Well, and you look at Batshuayi, and he's not, as we see the goal again, you look at Batshuayi and he doesn't anticipate things. I think he reacts to things. He doesn't anticipate, because he should be getting across the near post there, but he Coady gets there first and then he reacts, which is a little bit too late.
I must say that I do spend a lot of time commentating on the Bundesliga, and when he joined Dortmund, he was absolutely sensational. 9 goals in 14 appearances. He looked like a world-class striker. He got injured, and I just wonder if that's knocked his confidence, that he's possibly never really come back. Yeah. Went to Valencia after that, didn't he? Got 3 goals for them, then 6 goals in that spell of Palace later in that season, 2018-19. Just not quite worked for him at Chelsea, although his record, believe it or not, he's got 1 in 3, 25 goals in 77 appearances for Chelsea.
But how many of those appearances he started?
Well, maybe.
That's the thing. It's he may have got the goals, but often those games are done and dusted.
Yeah, they're 3-0 up at that point.
So I'm not saying they don't count. Of course they do, and they're just as important. But you want to be starting games. And
they're just as important, but they're not just as important, is what you're saying.
Well, no, the game as a competition is often over then.
Yes.
And that makes it slightly different, because the opponents have probably had a pounding and given up. You want to be on the pitch when the game is there to be competed for.
Yeah. Absolutely understood. And that's why he's joined Crystal Palace, and he would hope to do better than the poor offside that he was from a cross on the left from which he scored, but it was ruled out rightly. Here's Semedo down the right hand side for Wolves. That's a lovely run as well. He took on two men, beat them both, but then the cross doesn't beat Scott down in the centre of the defence.
Well, that's woeful defending. He looked like Adama Traore there, running past two players like they weren't there, but then he looked like Adama Traore from 2 years ago where he couldn't pick out a cross.
Yeah,
certainly not Traore now.
No, Traore left on the bench, can't quite get a regular start at the moment for Wolves.
I mean, he's played for Spain, but he can't crack the first team for Wolves on a regular basis.
One of our commentators here, I'm not sure if he's publicly out as a Wolves fan, so I shan't name him, but he is not that convinced by Traore. He says he thinks that he's one of those that looks brilliant on a highlights reel, but actually it's 6 or 7 crosses before he finds a man, which is interesting.
I think he's better now. It's 2 or 3. I think I've seen him come on and pick people out straight away. I think he's much better than he's given credit for.
Ball out to the right hand side for Podence, stretched ahead of Van Aanholt to get it back down the line for Semedo. Now infield to Neves, swings it out to the left hand side for Aid Nouri, scorer of the opener. 1 step over, 2 step overs, 3 step overs, and he's not really going anywhere. Maybe now, takes it to the byline, digs out a cross, Quades is underneath it. I'm not sure that did go out for a goal kick, but they've been wouldn't have mattered either way. Quades had the ball, whether it's gone out or not.
And I like the way they've given the young lad licence to just go and take people on, go and get a cross in, go and be creative, because that's what you want as a young player. You just want the manager to say
it's to you. It's the beauty of this system, though, isn't it, as well?
It is. Oh yeah. The system allows you freedom and space and time to be able, and also 1v1, because that's something Palace aren't having, is isolating players. Townsend, how many times has he taken anyone on? In fact, we haven't name checked.
Collected shot. Here's down at the back for Palace. Blue jerseys with red stripes down the middle and either side. Nice little slalom from Riedewald in the centre of the field. Gives it to Zaha. Neat again. Checks again. So many Wolves players ahead of him. Infield he comes to Milivojevic. Got to try and work out how to solve this conundrum, Crystal Palace. Townsend on the right hand side. Now up the line to Klein, back to Townsend. So many Wolves players around them again, and once more they force a mistake, although just some sheer harrying by Milivojevic. Works it to the right. Now this is a chance to get in the box. Oh, did Zaha get fouled there? Shot comes in from distance, and he wants a penalty.
I have no clue, I've got to say. I don't know.
Ball is with the goalkeeper, and I think Martin Atkinson's getting word from the video assistant that this might need looking at. Paul Tierney is the man at Stockley Park.
It's a penalty.
It's a penalty. Aid Nouri's got him, and I'll tell you what, it was fouled twice. It's 2 penalties. Neves came in on him as well. I think Palace are getting one here, where they had one ruled out in the first half. This is their chance to get back in the game.
It's a penalty. Nouri, wrong side, wrong foot. Didn't have to do it, but I don't think they're giving it.
Surely.
That's a penalty for me.
That is extraordinary.
I think that's a penalty.
And they've got going again.
It's bizarre.
Forward through to Guaita. Well, I'll tell you what, it was clear as day.
Well, he's clipped him. It's as simple as that.
Cannot believe what I've just seen. Batshuayi coming forward now, out to the left hand side from Schlupp to Zaha. Zaha takes it, gives it to Van Aanholt, left side of the box. Heavy touch, but he's forced himself back. Ball in, might loop to Batshuayi. Header back by Aid Nouri. He's got away with one as Aid Nouri.
Oh, he has.
Oh, cannot believe that.
No
what
doubt.
Part of the ball did he get? He didn't. It wasn't even one of those ones where he got the player and then the ball. He just didn't get the ball.
That's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
He's not got the ball, nowhere near the ball. Absolutely nowhere near the ball. Don't get it. But
He's kicked Zaha's foot onto the ball.
I don't get it. I don't get it. That is, I think, Zaha-ritis. That's what I think.
But doesn't VAR cure Zaha-ritis?
Well, it should do, because that's a penalty. Every time you...
I've gone, okay, I can see it from that angle. Not one.
No, he's not got the ball. And when you go into a penalty area, a little bit like Boly's, He's not got the ball. He's caught the player. So that is a foul.
I'm incredulous, and I don't even support Palace.
Well, I feel sorry because once
absolutely unbelievable.
Roy Hodgson sees that, he's going to lose it again like he did against in the Everton game.
Yeah.
Especially if Palace score and it's tight.
Yeah.
He's going to lose it.
Here's Zaha slipping the ball into Batshuayi, edge of the area. Nice feet with three around him. Gives it to Zaha again. Another couple of tricks from him. Can he deliver a ball into the box? Though he has done. Oh, read about underneath it. It's come all the way to Klein. Blocked by Neto. Bounces away. Throw into Palace. Midpoint of their own half.
And that's what you want. That's what you want to see from Zaha. He needs that to be isolated. It doesn't matter who the defender is. It doesn't matter. The ability this lad has got will show you the ball. Showed Semedo the ball and it was gone. And put in a decent cross.
Palace building here. Oh, it might have been given away by Reideveld though to Podence. Needs some support. Got it in the shape of Jimenez to his right. Instead comes back to Neves. Now here's Dendoncker. And it's just fizzled out a little bit, this. Aït-Nouri out on the left hand side. Neto now back on halfway with Neves. Near side. Here is Semedo. Neves. Might just go for goal from distance. Ooh, it's not a long way wide of Guaita's left hand post, but I think he was confident as he let it fly by, and it remains 2-0 to Wolves.
Well, he's prepared to shoot. I mean, there's nothing else on. Why not give it a go? He's got the ability to score from outside the box. I think he was the one, Neves, who did love to score from outside the box. So he's got that in his locker, but it was just nowhere near the goal.
Do you want to hazard a guess when Ruben Neves last scored a goal in the Premier League?
A year ago.
Oh, you're very, very nearly right. Yeah, November the 10th last year.
I think he scores great goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. His record in the Championship was incredible. It's actually now, he's closing in on a 1 in 10 record. It's 15 goals in 144, including today, for the Portuguese.
He's not prolific, but they are memorable.
Yeah, they are. Here's Van Aanholt high up on the left-hand side for Palace. Slips the ball into Schlupp inside the 18-yard box, but just forced away by Semedo, who's managed to dig out the cross there, and that's a lovely bit of work by Coady. Little shimmy inside his own 6-yard box, cool as you like, clipped to the right-hand side for Neto, and then smashed away by Wolves.
What he's doing really well, Coady, when the ball goes wide, is anticipating where the ball's going to be, and he's blocking everything. He's finding the ball all the time because he's reading situations.
At TalkSport Live, if you want to send us anything, your thoughts on the game. Can Palace get back in it? Here's Townsend, stabbed to Schlupp. Schlupp's got Van Aanholt outside of him, decided to go for goal. It was poor really, but it's bounced away kindly, and Townsend gives it to Schlupp again. There's the ball into the box. Coady half away. Ditto Boly gets the second bite at the cherry and smashes it towards the near side, and that's a throw in for Crystal Palace, right in front of Ray Lewington, the assistant for Roy Hodgson. Worked together for a long, long time now, including for England. Oldest manager in the Premier League and oldest assistant manager in the Premier League, Ray Lewington. 8 Miles has been in touch. That was a penalty for Palace. Very disappointed that VAR didn't give that.
Yeah, I really don't. You know, sometimes they have to explain why that's not a penalty, because at no point did Aït-Nouri touch the ball. He was nowhere near it.
Ball down the left-hand channel for Batshuayi, turns into Boly. Frenchman gets in, smacks it behind, and that's a corner to Palace.
Good defending. I mean, they've got, really solid citizens at the back, who are better players than they're given credit for, the truth be told. Coady is a much better player than he's given credit for, and Boly the same. Very good defender who would be a step up for most sides, I think.
Here comes Milivojevic with the corner. Guess who's underneath it? Coady. And then Neto nods it further. Van Aanholt picks up for Palace. Klein then under pressure from Jimenez. And he goes back to his goalkeeper, dressed in spearmint today, I'm reliably informed. Guaita moves it out to Dan. Now Kouyaté, defensive edge of the centre circle. Way to our right, down the right-hand side for Townsend. You can absolutely see the organisation of this Wolves team when they're out of possession. Just get so many bodies behind the ball, but they're having to do some defending at the moment to get towards the corner flag. Aït-Nouri got the block in. He wanted a goal kick. It's a corner.
But I like the way they work back. As you said, they work so hard defensively because they want a clean sheet, without a doubt.
Here's Townsend, ready to take the corner. His last one was terrible. Can he better it? Into the centre of the 6-yard box, away by Semedo. It'll be chased by Podence, score of the second goal. Down the line he goes. Here come Wolves with Neto out on the left-hand side. It's 3 against 3. Can they get the right runs? Ball in towards Jimenez and in towards Dendoncker, who's put it wide on the volley. That was a massive chance to make it 3-0 on the break, but Wolves have wasted it. Still 2-0.
And that's from Palace's corner. And they stream forward, and then Dendoncker, he outpaces Scott Dan. He's run 50-60 yards, then he slows down and he picks up the pace again, and as far as I'm concerned, he should just be guiding that Podence like home. Exact same thing as Podence. He just couldn't get his feet there quick enough after running 50 yards. Good play from Wolves.
Now at the other end, here's Zaha, goes down, Coady around him. Somehow
it's not a foul.
I thought for a moment that Zaha still had the ball, but no, tackled. And then interesting with Aït-Nouri, he's just ruffled his hair slightly roughly.
I don't understand what Zaha's doing.
Push out and they've gone head to head.
It's stupid play.
Little hand in the face of Aït-Nouri as well. This is a minimum yellow card. I've seen worse. Was right in front of Martin Atkinson. There was at least 2 yellow card offences within there. That's the point. And he has got the yellow card out, but he's going to his pocket again. Surely not. No, it's just for the pencil. Yeah, absolutely.
He's warning Zaha.
Rightly so.
You know, it's almost like he thinks he's not allowed to be touched. And he wasn't fouled. He fouled someone else. And, you know, there's almost a childlike aspect to Zaha. Spends more time moaning. This is a match winner. This is a top quality player who's moaning about being touched. His top player is going to get kicked. This is not a foul. He falls over the ball. Now they're just battling for the ball. Now there's only 1 of 3 fouls there. Down he goes, and then he roughs up his head, which he knows, and now he's abusing the. I don't get it all. I don't get it.
There were several potential bookings there.
Yeah. You put your hand at someone's face.
Shouldn't he close together? Just in the end, if you do more than 1 yellow card, action, you should have 2 yellow cards.
Well, you should, but in theory, but no ref is going to do that. He'll give him a yellow card and give him a stiff warning.
It's the last one, not the foul, and that's that, surely.
If he does it again, into Zaha's head, and that's the problem. That's what will stop him from being a top-class player. Because the top-class players get kicked. Yeah. And you have to be able to get on with it. But he finds it really difficult, and which means that you can get into his head and stop him playing.
He only has to watch Lionel Messi. Now, I'm not suggesting he's as talented as Lionel Messi, but he's that kind of player that will get kicked.
He's a talent.
Way.
He's a match winner. Yeah. It's as simple as that. He's a match winner, but he's spending far too much time moaning about being kicked. And that's a player of his sort who shows people the ball, moves it quickly, is going to get kicked multiple times in the game.
He has had a couple of red cards in his career, so it's not beyond the realm. It could happen again.
Well, I'll tell you what, Toby, if I was, in some clubs, you know what they'd be doing? They'd be getting after him now to get him sent off.
Yeah. Klein attacking down the right-hand side, moving infield, gives it to Townsend. That's better on the overlap. What's Klein's cross? Like it's deep towards Zaha. Tried the scissor, blocked. It's going to come out. Kouyaté chasing. Jimenez with the foul towards the edge of the box. This is a good position for the free kick. Looked to me like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. That challenge on the edge of the box, but it's gone against Jimenez, and it's a free kick to Palace, dead centre, just about edge of the D.
Yeah, as you see it, I mean, he's just getting there first, Kouyaté, but what you know with Kouyaté is he's going to fall over. 6'2" and big and strong, but he's going to fall over, and he's going to get a foul. Jimenez looks like he's coming back, and he's recognised and anticipated late, and he has fouled him.
Yeah, it was a foul. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now this is a chance for Zaha to show us his best if he wants, although he's not going to be in front of it, I don't think.
No, it's Milivojevic, I would say, or Townsend.
The voice you can hear screaming almost furiously is Rui Patricio. It's a 4-man Wolves wall.
It's a long way out.
Behind it.
Looks a long. I think it's going to have to explode off whoever's foot to beat Patricio.
Van Aanholt is also an option. It's going to be Milivojevic. Decent effort, not far away, but over the bar.
2 or 3 yards further forward it needed to be. Substitution.
Yeah, and it's